to the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, or COP29, came to a close, the atmosphere, as in the previous COP, is charged with resignation for some and anticipation for most. Resignation that every year people gather at COP, but we are still far from our climate targets, and anticipation that the next COP will be in Brazil, a more neutral ground, and anticipation for the new NDCs. I'm Sonia Astudillo, GAIA Global Climate Comms Officer, and to provide us with an insider perspective on the dynamics at play on the last few days at COP, we're joined by Desmond, Alugnoa, Zero Waste and Climate Program Manager at GAIA Africa and founder of Green Africa Youth Organization, who recently won the Earthshot Prize to clean our air. Hi, Desmond. How are you?
Hi, Sonia. I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm back in the Philippines, but I know you're still there at Baku. So, Desmond, please tell us about the Earthshot Prize Award and what it means to the bigger climate work on reducing methane emission through the waste sector.
Yeah, Sonia, it's such a timely activity to have happened just a few weeks ago, literally few days before I headed here to Baku for COP29. So the Earthshot Prize is a prize set up by Prince Williams, the Prince of Wales, particularly to support climate solutions to scale. And so the Prince says that he realized there is prizes for peace, there's prize for economics and different parts of the activities that people do around the globe. But then he didn't really get to see how people are setting up to support scaling of specific climate solutions. And so set up this prize. One is to clean our air, fix our climate, revive our oceans, restore and protect nature, and then build a waste-free world. So there are 5 categories that are being awarded. Each award going home with £1 million, together with some technical and other forms of support. So yes, the zero waste model, which is the project that I run in Accra, was nominated, and subsequently we won under the category of clean our air, because the project is mainly supporting cities to transition into sound waste management and to divert waste from both open burning and landfills into material recovery facilities where it is then composted or recycled.
Thanks, Desmond. Again, congratulations to Gaio and the whole gang.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Can you give us a refresher of what we came to accomplish at COP29?
Yes, so coming to COP was a couple of things. One key thing standing out was really to speak to different parties and different groups that are here at COP, and to sort of really remind especially parties from Global South and Africa in particular that climate funding should be really a topic of concern for them, and they should concentrate more around how do we shift the funding to communities that are facing the brunt of climate change. And then at the same time, how do we get funding not in the form of loans, but also in the form of grants that they can really create actual impact? Because the work that we are doing as GAIA Africa, the work that we are doing at GAIO in my organization, depends in a way on private-public partnerships in different forms. And so when government is not able to really hold the grounds in terms of support and augment some of the fundings that we get and the community mobilization that we are doing, it becomes really difficult. So this is one of the key interests. And then the other thing was also to really, we had a number of side events focusing on really pushing the agenda on abating methane, because the question is, why wait for waste to be created? Why wait for waste to be sent to landfills? And then you start talking of technologies to capture or to monitor if you can actually already divert some of this waste from going there, and if you can already stop food waste from being created in those volumes. And so we've had so many events. Actually, today is my last panel session that I will be speaking at the China Pavilion together with some Chinese partners. Mainly on people-centered approaches to waste management in Africa in particular. And those are some of the avenues that we are able to push here. But also, as you know, GAIA is a youth-led gender balance organization operating in multiple countries in Africa. So one of the key points is to really drive the youth agenda and be specific. Recently we actually had a session where we sent out a communique to the leaders for G20 who are concurrently meeting in Brazil, mainly to just say that, hey, we want you to put the money where the future is, and we want you to put the money where your future is. Your future is your children, it's the youth of today, and we want you to move the money to those who really need it. And highlighting the point that it is game on and it's not game over, because the climate emergency is something that needs to be tackled almost immediately.
I just want to ask this question. I know Guy has been in several pavilions. We were in the Global Methane Hub, in FAO, and several national pavilions. How are you being received by the national governments? Are there media? Is there? So how is it? Are they receptive to what you're saying?
Well, it's quite a range, you know. It's not uniform. So, for example, we've had a couple of events in the Ghana Pavilion, um, um, and Nigeria Pavilion as well. And in particular, African governments are really curious about the zero waste models that we are implementing. And they are asking questions like, how can we do this and how can we scale this? Um, and there are also a couple of instances. For example, yesterday at the Global Methane Hub Pavilion, we had a very interesting event in the morning. Yeah, you probably know that the Nigerian government is currently having a couple of waste to energy and recycling initiatives about to be developed, and we had some senior members from the Nigerian government at this event, and um, it was just interesting to see the way some of these deals don't seem to be highlighting enough how much the governments are going to benefit, but rather it seems to be shifting towards how private sector who is interested in the deals are going to benefit. And so it was a mixed kind of feeling, because on the one hand, we are pushing that we need to concentrate on people, we need to concentrate on jobs, we need to concentrate on health. And if we can actually apply proper solutions like the zero waste models, we wouldn't need to adopt false solutions in the form of waste to energy or pyrolysis. Um, but that's how the whole conversation have been like that. Governments seem to be sandwiched between the problem of population growing and consumption patterns really increasing, and also on the other side, the corporate industry pushing all these false solutions on them. And as a lot of governments live on loans from the West, they really sometimes do not scrutinize some of these deals hard enough. So it was just a nice time to have questions and answers, and to see how we are helping governments to sort of reflect on some of the conversations they are already having.
Thanks, Desmond. What is your take on the result of COP29? What have been the major achievements?
I mean, before this call, I was just having a conversation with a delegate from Kenya who is supporting on technologies, and he was saying that, oh yes, we managed to reach a deal, which is good, and I didn't get to go to the details of that, but I think that was positive because just a few days ago, the Action on Climate Empowerment is also sort of reached a good deal, which is positive. Um, Finance is still a conversation that's still ongoing, as well as Article 6 and a few other items. And uh, I'm not too sure how that is going to end because these are normally topics of very important or key interest for so many countries, and and it also requires a lot of commitment, and because it takes a lot of commitment, especially from global north, global south, parties usually don't want to commit immediately, and so I'm only keeping fingers crossed that we will reach some good goals from that. But the passion and the ambition towards COP30 in Brazil is really high, from all fronts. I think one thing that is being very um, not so encouraging is that parties are not speaking as though they are very much aware of the way their NDCs are supposed to reflect. For NDCs 3.0, 3.1, um, a lot of parties are still under review, during the in the period of reviewing their NDCs until February next year. And when I ask questions, or I've been in rooms where people ask questions around how your NDC structured, and it doesn't seem to be specific in most cases. And that's the problem. If it is just very blanket policies, at the end of the day, it becomes a problem for the implementation when it is not very specific. So I think that's something that I'm learning from here, and I'm hoping that a lot of governments are also learning and will go and try to dig deeper and include grassroots voices to be able to enrich the process.
You mentioned COP30 and NDC 3.0. So what do you see is still pending there, and what needs to happen between now and COP30?
I mean, particularly between now and COP30, what needs to happen is that NDCs, for example, need to be reviewed ASAP and concluded, because I feel a bit like a lot of governments may end up just having to put in something because time is not on their side. And that brings me back to the question of how specific and how tailored or mainstreamed or inclusive are your NDCs. For example, there hasn't been there are conversations, and there are some points around methane abatement and uh, focusing on waste as a mechanism or an opportunity to act on climate. But those are still like broader statements as against saying that between now and 2030 to have maybe a policy in place prohibiting dumping of food waste into mixed containers or something, because these are the things that will create a mechanism and enable CSOs and private sector to understand the directive of government in the next couple of years and start acting, because these are the implementers and these are the ones who are closer to the problem in most cases. So whatever government decide in the NDC review process has an influence and can be catalyzed by also on the ground action of these groups.
So broader means not a government organization still has a room to influence and to work closely with the national governments. So what are you looking forward to for COP30?
So the ambition is to have a people's COP. That is what I will be looking forward to. Yes, it's been really good for all these past years having technical conversations, having parties leading and everything going back and forth. But I think the process has been slow and it creates the whole notion that there is always the opportunity for the next sitting. We take it to Bonn or we will take this to the next COP. And I don't think that enables or encourages fast action. And and I think that an inclusive, a more inclusive COP, having people at the center, prioritizing the needs of the people now would probably be an encouragement for faster decision and fast climate action.
Thank you so much, Desmond. So People's COP and more inclusive COP. So thanks, Desmond, for sharing your valuable insight and helping us understand the intricate dynamics at play there during the last few days. To our viewers, please stay tuned to COP30. The Climate Newsroom will be right there to bring you the latest updates and analysis as this work continues. But while anticipating COP30, follow us on our social media pages, GAIA, Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives on LinkedIn and YouTube, and Global Alliance for Incinerator Alternatives on Facebook, and GAIA No Burn on X for news, updates, and inspiring stories straight from the communities. Until then, keep advocating for a shift from harmful to impactful climate action in the waste sector and beyond. Thank you for watching. This is the Climate Newsroom signing off. See you in Brazil.